Welcome to my channel Starlight Sci-Fi Stories. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Elias Core had thought he had left the chaos of the galaxy behind. Earth was quiet compared to the frontier, quieter than he had ever remembered. The hum of civilian life replaced the constant alarms of ships under attack and diplomatic tensions that never fully disappeared. For 15 years, Elias had been a soldier and protector, running along the edge of human colonies, guarding diplomats, and watching worlds burn. Now he unpacked boxes in his modest apartment in New Haven, listening to the rain patter against the concrete. The world felt ordinary, safe, and painfully slow. He had come to enjoy it, or at least tolerate it, until the knock at his door shattered the silence. No appointment, no delivery, just a simple knock. But when Elias looked at the monitor, his blood froze. The figure outside was unmistakably alien. Tall and slender, her skin shimmered like liquid pearl, catching the dim porch light in soft blues and silvers. Her eyes were large, luminous, and fixed on him with intensity. Elias' heart pounded in a rhythm he hadn't felt in years. He knew her. "Lyria," he whispered. The door slid open before his mind could catch up with his body. Her shoulders trembled and her voice came through his translator with a harmonic overlay. "Why did you leave me, human?" The words hit harder than any battlefield ever had. 8 years ago, Elias had been stationed at Karalis Station, a fractured diplomatic hub orbiting a dying red star in the Lyra expanse. Lyria was a Verlian cultural envoy, tasked with observing human colonies, understanding their unpredictable behavior, and translating Verlian intentions to fragile allies. He had been assigned as security detail. He wasn't supposed to notice her, but he did. She asked questions others never asked: why humans laughed when nervous, why they touched casually, why they risked everything for strangers. She watched everything, fascinated by humanity as if it were a puzzle she longed to solve. Then came the attack. A separatist cell sabotaged the station's core. Emergency bulkheads failed. Fires roared. Aliens and humans alike scrambled, untrained and unarmed. Lyria was trapped beneath a fractured support beam. Elias found her crouched, glowing markings flickering wildly with fear. Without thinking, he lifted the debris, shielding her as the station shook and burned around them. "I will remember you," she had whispered then. Verlians never forgot those who saved them. Elias had assumed it was gratitude. He didn't realize it was a bond, one that followed her across light years. After the evacuation, he was reassigned. Life in the interstellar service demanded constant motion, no time for farewells, no time for lingering attachments. He had never returned to Karalis Station. And now here she was. "I didn't leave you," he said weakly. "Not like that. I was reassigned. I didn't know where you went." Her glow dimmed, a flicker of hurt in her gaze. "You disappeared, no message, no farewell. That is abandonment." Guilt weighed heavy on him. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "Truly, I didn't realize." "You promised safety," she said softly, "not with words but with actions, and then you were gone." Silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating. Finally, he stepped aside. "Please come in." She hesitated only a moment before crossing the threshold. The apartment felt suddenly small. Lyria's eyes roamed, touching walls, sensing vibrations, absorbing the space as if she could read its story. She sat only after he gestured to the couch. "You followed me," he said. She lowered her gaze. "Your species leaves traces, not only physical but emotional, neural, even memory. When you saved me, you bonded with me." Elias froze. Bonded, yes. That explained the faint pulse of awareness he sometimes felt when she crossed his mind, even years later. "I tried to sever it," she said softly, "but it only grew stronger. I could sense you alive, moving, changing. When you returned to Earth, the signal became clear." "Humans didn't bond like that, not unintentionally." "I know," she whispered. "That is why I came, to understand why you could give devotion in one moment and walk away in the next." He struggled to explain. "I saved you because it was right, not because I expected anything in return." Her expression shifted, confusion, then understanding. "Saving a life creates responsibility, connection. You became important." The weight of her words settled on him. He hadn't realized that his choices had consequences that span light years. The next days were tense. Earth authorities were nervous about an undocumented alien walking among civilians, but Elias' credentials and Lyria's diplomatic status delayed interference. They spoke often, sharing cultures, fears, and truths. She described Verlian bonding, the deep social and biological consequences of abandonment. He described humanity's need to compartmentalize to survive in a vast and indifferent galaxy. They were not wrong, they were simply different. Yet slowly, a fragile understanding began to bloom. The hurt in her gaze softened, replaced by curiosity and quiet reflection. One night, rain streaked the windows as they stood on the balcony. "You are not cruel," she said. "You are incomplete. Your species breaks bonds to survive. And yours forms them to endure," he replied. She nodded. "I did not follow you to demand loyalty. I followed you because I needed closure." "Did you find it?" he asked. Her glow brightened, not desperately but warmly. "I found truth. You did not leave me out of malice, only ignorance." Relief washed through him, but her markings hinted at unresolved tension. Lyria had crossed the stars to find him, not out of vengeance but for understanding. 3 days later, a sleek silver Verlian vessel descended over the city, drawing attention and panic. Lyria hesitated. "My people need me," she said. "The bond will fade," Elias reminded her. "Yes," she said softly, "it will no longer hurt, but you changed me." Before boarding, she placed her palm on his chest. "You saved me once, and even in leaving, you taught me something important." "What?" he asked. "Humanity's strength is not permanence," she said. "It is choice, compassion again and again, even knowing it may not last." The ramp closed, the ship lifted, and she was gone. Months passed, life returned to routine. Elias was not the same man who had opened his door that night. He spoke carefully, connected deliberately, and no longer assumed silence was harmless. One evening, an encrypted message arrived, unmistakably Verlian. "The bond has faded, but the memory remains. You did not abandon me, you changed me." Elias smiled. Sometimes humanity would not be remembered for its wars, ambition, or empires, but for quiet acts of courage, compassion, and being remembered across the stars. The galaxy was vast, indifferent, and full of enemies, but Elias now understood a truth beyond combat. Even small, human choices could echo across the stars. The silver ship vanished into the clouds over New Haven, leaving only the faint hum of residual energy in the air. Elias Kor stood on his balcony, rain dripping down his jacket, watching the horizon where Earth met the stars. Lyria's departure left a quiet ache he could not name, a reminder that even when the galaxy was conquered, even when wars were survived, some battles were fought in the human heart. Days passed and the hum of routine returned. Elias trained himself to ignore the memories, to dismiss the pulse in his chest that still seemed to respond to her presence. Then the message came, encrypted, brief, unmistakably Verlian. "You are not forgotten, something is coming." The warning stirred something old in him, alertness honed through decades of service. He scanned the skies nightly, eyes tracing every anomaly, every flash of light between stars and satellites. He could feel it. Lyria's world and his connection to it was not done with him. It began subtly. Civilian reports of strange craft over the northern coast, sensor anomalies at airports, signals traced to a private orbital station apparently abandoned yet transmitting in coded bursts. Elias' instincts screamed someone or something had followed Lyria, and through her now they would find him. The arrival. 3 nights later, the ship appeared without warning. Sleek, angular, its hull darker than the storm clouds with subtle markings that reflected light like water. Elias' heart raced, not from fear but from anticipation and the weight of responsibility. Lyria's voice resonated in his mind, a faint echo of the bond. "You must be ready. Humans endure." The door to his apartment slid open behind him with a hiss. He turned. A small drone, unfamiliar, hovered in the hallway, scanning, glowing faint red. Someone had traced him here. Someone from the Verlian faction that had rejected Lyria's choice to leave their station. Elias grabbed a heavy tool from his workshop, a maintenance lever, nothing more, and stepped outside. The drone reacted instantly, sending out pulses that made the streetlights flicker. He moved toward it, keeping low, using the rain and shadows as cover. Then a voice, smooth and cold, came from the air. "Commander Kor, your human ingenuity has delayed the inevitable, but it cannot stop it." The voice was Verlian, harsh, clipped, formal. Elias understood immediately. This was Counselor Theron, a high-ranking enforcer of Verlian law who believed Lyria's decision to come to Earth endangered their people. "I don't intend to stop anyone," Elias said, stepping from the shadows into the open, "but you won't touch her." The drone recoiled and the counselor materialized teleportation-like, a shimmer of energy. He was tall, imposing, his skin darker than Lyria's, marked with intricate silver lines that pulsed with authority. "She defied her people," he said, voice echoing, "and you aided her. You must answer for this." Elias stood firm. "I'm human. My people survive by choice, by thinking, by protecting. I won't watch her be dragged back against her will." Theron's eyes narrowed. "Human morality is fragile. Emotions cloud judgment. In your place many would have complied, but not you. That is the problem." Elias smiled faintly. "Then you'll have to fight me because I'm staying." Human ingenuity versus Verlian authority. The battle that followed was subtle but intense. Elias did not have the speed or strength of Verlians, but he had something they did not: improvisation. He lured drones into narrow alleyways, overloaded sensors with reflections from wet windows, used electrical conduits to short circuits. Each move was calculated, human, imperfect, and brilliant in its unpredictability. He reached the outskirts of the city where the silver ship had landed earlier. Lyria emerged from the shadows, glowing softly, her eyes wide with concern. "Elias, you cannot fight them alone," she said. "I don't intend to fight alone," he replied. He reached for the emergency beacon he had hidden, a signal not to summon help but to reveal the city's network of surveillance, drones, and automated defenses. Earth was quiet, but it was no longer defenseless. Humanity was always underestimated. Lights blinked across the city, cameras and satellites aligning, relaying movement, showing every approach. The counselors' forces, confident in their speed and coordination, faltered. They were brilliant warriors, but rigid, predictable. Elias moved like water, bending around their tactics, using human resourcefulness to survive. Lyria touched his shoulder. "We can't hold them forever," she whispered. "I don't intend to," he said, eyes narrowing. "We're going to make them understand that humans are not easy prey, and that compassion can be stronger than fear." Together, they retreated to the old spaceport, abandoned decades ago. Elias rigged the place with improvised defenses, collapsed scaffolds, electrified conduits, even old cargo crates designed to misdirect sensors. Verlians arrived, expecting a swift capture, but found themselves ensnared in traps that no military manual could predict. A lesson in human choice. Counselor Theron finally appeared, frustrated. "Enough, human, step aside or she will be taken." Elias stepped forward, steady. "You don't understand humans," he said. "We survive not because we follow orders blindly, but because we choose every moment, every action. We protect what we care about. And I care about her. You want to take her, you'll have to take me too, but know this, I will not stop fighting until the choice is respected." Theron paused. He did not move, did not attack immediately. He regarded Elias as if seeing the human species for the first time, not as a weak, emotional creature, but as something resilient, creative, and unpredictable. Lyria stepped beside Elias. "This is my choice," she said clearly. "I came to him, I stayed because I wanted to. We are connected, yes, but not for control, not for obedience. If you take me, it will not be loyalty you claim, but rebellion, and that is your failure." The counselor's markings flickered, his form tense. Elias could see the calculations running in his mind, a species that acts without rigid rules, that survives and protects through emotion and reason combined. Dangerous, brilliant, human. Finally, he withdrew. "You will leave," Theron said, "for now, but the galaxy watches. This choice will be remembered." Elias did not move, so will ours. The quiet after the storm. The city returned to silence. Lyria and Elias stood on the observation deck of the old spaceport, rain dripping from the roof. Their connection, the bond forged across light years, pulsed softly between them. "You risked everything," Lyria said, "for me." "For us." "I risked everything for what is right," Elias replied. "For what humans do best, choose to act, to protect, to endure." She reached for his hand. The touch carried warmth, light, and understanding. "I understand now. The galaxy may not remember humans for battles alone, but for moments like this. Choice, courage, and compassion." Elias nodded. "We may be small, fragile, imperfect, but that is what makes humanity strong. We act when it matters, even when the odds are impossible. that is HFY. They stayed silent for a long moment, letting the rain wash over them, cleansing the city and their minds of fear. In that quiet, they realized the galaxy had changed, not because of weapons or wars, but because a human and an alien had dared to follow their own hearts. Departure and legacy. Weeks later, Lyria prepared to return to her people. The silver ship arrived, its landing smooth, almost ceremonial. She turned to Elia's, eyes glowing softly. "I will return to my people, but this will never leave me. Humanity has taught me something I will carry forever." "And you've taught me," Elia said quietly, "that sometimes the bravest act is to open your heart and stand by what is right, even if the galaxy disagrees." Before stepping onto the ship, she placed her hand over his heart. "You changed me, you reminded me why life matters, not orders, not laws, but choice, compassion, courage, humanity." The ramp closed, the ship rose, disappearing into the clouds, leaving Elias alone, but not lonely. The echo of their bond remained, soft and enduring, a reminder that even across light years, humanity could shine brighter than fear or conflict. Epilogue. Months passed. Elias returned to his quiet life on Earth, but he was no longer the same man. He taught younger generations, shared stories of distant worlds, and quietly influenced diplomats and soldiers alike with lessons he had learned. That choice is more powerful than law. That compassion can echo further than weapons. That humanity's strength lies not in permanence, but in the courage to act over and over again. A small message arrived one evening, encrypted and simple. "Memory remains, you did not abandon, you changed me, we will meet again someday." Elias smiled. Humanity had survived the galaxy not because it was perfect, but because it dared to care, to choose, and to endure. And in that enduring light, a human heart proved once again that the smallest sparks could illuminate the stars.